everyone, this is Matt from Project Lancer, and in this video we're going to be covering how to set up a local WordPress installation. It's pretty easy, pretty quick, should be pretty painless. So let's go ahead and dive in. The first thing we need to do is set up our local web server, which is going to be where we run all of our local websites. So what we need to do to have this, if you don't, is a tool called XAMPP. So you can go ahead and search that in your web browser and install it for Linux, Mac, or Windows, whatever you have, and go through that installation process. You should just be able to click next through it. You don't need to change any of the settings. And just go ahead and finish that installation. Once that's done, or while it's going, you can go to download WordPress, this wordpress.org /download to download WordPress. I also already have that downloaded. So go ahead and do that. And once XAMPP's installed, we can go ahead and move our file. So if I open up my folders, I go to my downloads, I can see a WordPress 6.6 zip file. Go ahead and cut that. And we're going to actually go to our XAMPP directory. So mine's in my C XAMPP. And we're going to go into htdocs. Inside our htdocs is where we're going to paste that WordPress zip file, and we're going to go ahead and extract that. So we're going to say extract all, click extract. It's going to take a little bit to happen. So while that's being extracted, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and open up our XAMPP. I'll just show you this control panel. So inside of here, you have Apache and MySQL, right? These are the two things that we're going to need to run our web server. So if we click Start and Start on these, back in our browser, we can go to localhost, and you'll see that our web server is up and running. And if we go to my phpMyAdmin, this is where all of our databases are going to sit, right? So we need to create a database. I've already created one. Let me go ahead and actually see if I can delete this. It don't matter. Let's just create a new one, right? So we go into phpMyAdmin where we create all of our databases for all of our sites for PHP. And let's go ahead, or for MySQL. And so let's go ahead, click New, create database. Let's give it a database name of WP. Right, we'll just call it WP and create it, and you'll see that it's been created here. So if we hop back over to our files, let's see if the extraction has finished. It has. So one thing I want to call out before we move forward is going to be going back up into our XAMPP and going into the phpMyAdmin directory and finding this config.inc file. Right, if I go into this config.inc file and I open it in Visual Studio, you're going to see a few things here. We got password, user, and a allow no password, right? So you saw how I logged into that phpMyAdmin real quickly. Well, in order to, if you wanted to have a little more security there, you could change your user, your password, and change the allow no password to false. And it would require you to log in order to make those changes, right? So just some additional security if you wanted it. It's a local machine installation, so I don't really feel a need to do that, but I wanted to call that out that is an option. So now that we have our XAMPP set up and we have our WordPress extracted, let's go back into our htdocs. And inside of our htdocs, let's find that WordPress extraction. We can actually call this whatever we want. So we go ahead and rename it, and I'm going to call this WordPress. But you could call whatever you want. My first site, it doesn't matter, right? Call it whatever you'd like. So we're going to go ahead and let's go inside of here. And we'll see we have WordPress inside of here as well. Let's actually go ahead and cut that and move it up one. Right, so we do not want that cascading file system there. It would still work, but we don't want it. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to find our config sample. If we right click on this and open it in Visual Studio, you're going to see some information here that we need to add. So the first thing is going to be adding the name of our database. So we called our database WP, so you need to add that database name. Our username is root, because I did not change it. And then our password was an empty string. So go ahead and click Save. Make sure all that looks good. It looks good. So we can close out of this. And so we should be able to, now that our server is running, come over and go localhost/WordPress, and it is working, right? So it's going to ask you like what language you want to use. So we'll click English. It's going to have you enter in that database information that we just entered in that config file. So we're going to go WordPress, username is root, and password, we're going to leave that blank. Database host is localhost. Oh, our database name is actually WP. Sorry, apologies for that. Okay, so that all looks good, and we'll click submit. Alrighty, so we've made it through, and let's go ahead and run that installation. Super quick. So we'll go ahead, site title, and we're going to call this my local site. Give it a username. I'm going to call mine Morgan. Password, I'm just going to keep that default password. And then our email, I'm going to put Morgan Web Development because that's my email that I generally use. Okay, so we'll say sure, discourage them from indexing it, but it's not going to index it because it's local. And let's go ahead and install. So WordPress has been installed. So let's go ahead and log in. Keep our password there. Post whatever password you created. And you're in, right? So we have an active WordPress installation locally. If we go to our users, you'll see the user you've created, dashboard, appearance, theme. So a nice, simple, basic intro WordPress installation. So that's all there is to it. I hope it was helpful, and thank you for listening.